Welcome to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang, your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, the House Infrastructure Committee looks into anomalies in the DPWH flood control projects. This inquiry comes on the heels of Monday's Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing, where some of the 15 contractors of interest were quizzed on the same. We dive into the insights of J.C. Punungbayan, assistant professor at the UP School of Economics. The purge begins. Newly appointed DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon orders all of the agency's officials to resign from their posts. And Metro Pacific Investment Corporation expands its agribusiness portfolio. We get the lowdown from Jovi Hernandez, President and CEO of Metro Pacific Agro Ventures. Of the Alpha and Omega Construction for being linked to 8 other construction companies. Alpha and Omega is one of 15 companies that cornered 1/5 of all flood control projects since 2022. Discaya admitted she still holds top positions in other firms, but insisted she is not colluding with any DPWH official.
Nakakapagtaka dahil yung siyam na construction companies niyo, yun ang laging favored, kumbaga, sa bidding. Kasi ang balita ko, isa kayo sa mga una nakakita at nakakapili ng mga projects. Bago pa mabuo ang National Expenditure Program, yung tinatawag natin na NEP. Parang menu lang sa restaurant na nakaka-order kayo kagad.
Sir, wala po akong nakakausap po.
Wala kang kilala sa DPWH?
Wala po.
Hindi kami maniniwala niyan, wala kayong kilala sa DPWH.
Meron ako yung mga engineer, yung mga district engineers siya.
Yun mga pala. Sino yung mga district engineer na nakilala mo?
Pero hindi po sila nagbibigay ng project po sa akin.
This is unbelievable. To have 28 or 40 luxury cars at your disposal. Ngayon lang ako nakarinig na isang tao o mag-asawa na ganito kadami ang kotse na mamahalin.
CFO po, pero hindi ako COO po.
COO. So, bakit po ikaw ang CFO pa rin kung nag-divest na po kayo, official pa rin po kayo dyan?
Tumutulong lang po ako dun sa mga ibang companies po.
So you haven't, with the permission, you haven't completely divested. You're still the CFO according to you.
Opo, pero hindi po ako nagmamanage po ng mga companies na yun. Wala na po ako.
Yung mga coaching imported, mga luxury cars. Ang balita ko, dun sa interview mo, binili mo yung isang Rolls Royce dahil nagandahan ka sa payong. Tama ba?
Sir, yes po.
Samantalang, ilan yung luxury cars mo?
Nasa 28 po.
This is unbelievable. To have 28 or 40 luxury cars at your disposal. Ngayon lang ako nakarinig na isang tao o mag-asawa na ganito kadami ang kotse na mamahalin.
The senators also got irked with Wawa Builders General Manager Mark Alan Arevalo for stammering when asked if his firm got ghost projects.
Okay.
Ano? Can you repeat your answer?
Wow.
Can you repeat your answer, Mr. Arevalo?
I invoke my rights for self-incrimination, Your Honor. Dahil may mga usapin po na kakasuhan yung mga contractor ng DPWH po at parte ng ulat ng Senado na magpagrekomenda ng paghahain ng kaso laban sa resource person, ang payo ng aking mga abogado ay huwag magsalita sa panahon na ito dahil anumang pahayag ko sa pagsisiyasat.
Ang bira ka, sasagot ka ng ganyan, ghost project. Parang tinatanong ka kung tao ka, hindi mo alam kung tao ka.
As for the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, which Senator Panfilo Lacson accused of engaging in an accreditation for scheme sale, it said previously blacklisted companies could rejoin public biddings.
The blacklist that was issued by the DPWH, Your Honor, has certain time limitations. So once a notice that the project has been completed, then the blacklist is lifted. And PICAB actually limit of responsibility is we can only institute disciplinary action upon a complaint or a verified violation.
Alam nyo, Engineer Dakay, kung gugustuhin, may pamamaraan. It says in Section 29, Republic Act number 4566, pwede po kayo mag-imbestiga at gumawa po ng aksyon, suspension, revocation of license.
Senator Erwin Tulfo says there are still attempts to insert funds for flood control projects in the 2026 budget. In an interview with Sa Totoo Lang on
naman yung mga tao na yung mga politiko na yun, hindi na nahiya, hindi na natakot na may investigation na, tapos pipilitin pa magkaroon ng insertion. And I believe, according to my source, ginawa yon paggawa ng net, may bumulong na doon sa DBM na mag-i-insert sila. Magagaling yan dyan sa Congress. Yun ang dapat silipin na ngayon, siguro, ng executive ng DBM. The rumors na may bumulong na idagdag mo ito dito. Ikabit mo ito sa flood control. Flood control na naman. And I believe that parang dyan yata yan sa Kalinga and then sa Apayao kung i-check ninyo. Kasi nasa billions din to the tune of yung isa yata 2-point-something billion, isa 1-point-something billion.
submit courtesy resignations. This was the order from new Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon to his subordinates just hours after taking his oath of office. The order covers all DPWH officials, from undersecretaries down to district engineers. Dizon stressed the defective flood control projects could not have happened without collusion inside the agency. The new DPWH chief also announced a lifetime ban on contractors involved in ghost or substandard projects.
Unang-una ko pong order, courtesy resignations, top to bottom. USEC, ASEC, division head, regional director, hanggang district engineer ng buong bansa. Yan po ang unang-unang order na gustong ipagabas ng ating Pangulo. Sabi niya, linisin ang DPWH. At ito po ang simula. Mag-i-impose po ako ng lifetime blacklisting, ban, immediately. Kapag ang isang project ng isang contractor ay ghost o napatunayang substandard, automatic po blacklisted for life.
A revamp of the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, which Senator Ping Lacson has accused of extortion and complicity, is also expected. For his part, President Marcos said he will issue an executive order creating an independent commission
it externally. We cannot investigate ourselves. And yun nga po ang kagandahan ng independent commission na itatayo ng ating Pangulo. Lahat po ng impormasyon na makalap po ng bagong team na papasok, ipapasa po sa independent commission. Hindi po ako sang-ayon sa ahensang nag-iimbestiga sa sarili niya.
Our next guest says, in the context of the surfacing anomalies, there is a leadership vacuum at the top. With us now for more is Assistant Professor JC Punungbayan of the School of Economics at the University of Philippines, Diliman. He is about to launch his podcast, Insight Gov. Good to have you back, JC. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Cathy, for having me.
So, what did you make of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing yesterday?
Well, Cathy, there's a very glaring conflict of interest that hounds all of these investigations. Because remember that the people involved in the flood control anomalies would be the lawmakers themselves, well, some of them, and then, of course, the DPWH, the district engineers, as well as the private contractors, some of them who attended yesterday's hearings. So ideally, Congress itself should not be investigating itself. And to a certain extent, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon understands this. However, I think there should be a great demand for a very independent body that will investigate all this, because at the end of the day, the investigations might end up being just performative, and the people who are involved, including some lawmakers, may not be held to account, and therefore all of this would be a waste.
But the president did say that he will create that independent commission to investigate further. What do you make of that move?
Well, we should remember that the president himself has been complicit, because at the end of the day, the entire budget of the government gets approved by the president around December of every year. And at every step of the process, from the proposal of the budget, for example, there are already opportunities to insert the port, including the proposed budget for next year, in which the Department of Budget and Management, for example, submitted the National Expenditure Program that still contains about 270 billion pesos in flood control projects alone, when in fact, at that level, at the cabinet level, there should be some mechanism to already remove or excise some of the needless or potentially very risky port projects. So the executive and the legislature should be held to account in all of this.
Well, as these inquiries go and everybody being held into account, the House is already deliberating on the 2026 budget. And I wanted to pull up these figures for you. Budget departments carved out nearly 275 billion pesos to tackle the country's flood program. And in 2025, that budget submitted was worth 257 billion. And the House this year is going to be ditching that small committee to avoid the possible discretionary insertions. So what difference do you think that would make?
Well, again, if you look at the National Expenditure Program, in fact, the port budget is already put in place in the National Expenditure Program itself, even as early as now. And the problem is that as the budget bill goes through Congress, the risk is that this will further balloon, just like what we saw last year when there was a top-up of about 250 billion, if I'm not mistaken, in the DPWH budget alone. And this was because of the small committee that now they say has been removed. But that only points to the necessity of really monitoring how the budget evolves in the coming weeks and months. And this brings us to the need, for example, for more budget watchdogs to be involved in the process. Because we're talking about hundreds of billions of pesos that are unilaterally included in not very, or should I say, not at all transparent processes within the budget system. So
to
we
your
should
point, are you
be
getting
extra wary.
positive feedback yet from the civil society organizations? Because I spoke with Social Watch Philippines' Jack Reyes Cantos last week, and she did say that the legislators are treating CSOs as mere observers rather than resource persons or speakers.
Yes, this is very troubling because this kind of suggests that, again, on the part of some of the lawmakers who are pushing for more budget transparency, this might again end up being performative. I saw some of the initial discussions between CSOs as well as lawmakers, members of the Appropriations Committee, for example. There are reports, many reports that say that the involvement is kind of tokenistic, actually, in the sense that they are allowed to say their piece, but in terms of calling out some of the dubious insertions, for example, or being involved in the deliberations themselves, in the hearings in the coming weeks and months, the participation of CSOs will continue to be very limited. Again, on the one hand, it's a step in the right direction, but I don't believe that they're doing nearly enough to involve CSOs.
As the inconsistencies, anomalies, and the transparency issues percolate, protests over rising costs of living in Indonesia proving the most serious test case yet for the leadership in Jakarta. And it's also raising questions as to if Pinoys were just so angry at the alleged corrupt practices, then why aren't Pinoys taking it to the streets?
Yes, I teach martial economics at UP this semester, and this is all very reminiscent of what had happened immediately after the EDSA People Power Revolution, where people stormed Malacanang, and then they discovered all of the riches and treasures of the Marcos family, who were just ousted and booted out and went into exile in Hawaii. They discovered, for example, the huge shoe collection of Imelda, the vases of perfumes, and all of the other luxuries. So this points to the important fact that social unrest will really come to a head, or it will really be the outcome that we'll see if corruption reaches a certain level, and more importantly, if people realize that such massive corruption exists. So I think we're coming to a crucial moment in modern Philippine history, where yet again, Filipinos are coming to realize that corruption still persists, even as the pork budget allocations were supposedly banned back in 2013. But I have the opinion that actually that decision of the Supreme Court in 2013 had unintended consequences and led us to the situation right now. Because at least before, there were specific allocations for every lawmaker, so that you can very well monitor if they exceeded or not. But now the sky's the limit. So it's an unintended consequence of that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your insights and good luck on the podcast. JC Punungbayan of UP Diliman. And we have this just in. The Bureau of Customs served a search warrant for firms owned by the Discayas. The Discayas are one of the 15 contractors now being investigated for the flood control projects. We'll bring you more details on this story as it becomes available. You are watching Money Talks. Analysts see one more rate cut from the Bangko Sentral. And Jovi Hernandez, President and CEO of Metro Pacific Agro Ventures, joins us in a few minutes on his investments. Keep it here on One News. Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Metro Pacific Investments Corporation, or MPIC, expands its agribusiness portfolio with more acquisitions. With us now for more is Jovi Hernandez, President and CEO of Metro Pacific Agro Ventures Inc., a wholly owned subsidiary of MPIC, managing all agricultural investments of the MVP Group. Good to see you again, Jovi. Welcome to the program. You know, last time we spoke, you launched a fresh milk line.
Yes.
Just a couple months ago at the start of the year. I know that you said that you wanted to redefine the Filipino plates.
Correct.
How is that long game coming along for you?
It definitely is a long game,
It
Cathy. We quickly discovered it's a very difficult business, but we still feel that somebody has to do it. The good news is that when we launched the dairy line, which is the liquid milk line, so we have whole milk now, low-fat milk, we have chocolate milk, and there's a new one, salted caramel milk. We took the #1 flavor in ice cream and made that into a liquid milk drink, and it has been approved by the FDA already. And the very quick tidbit, Cathy, that surprised us is that as of July numbers, the milk line is actually now bigger than the ice cream. So it has totally shifted.
What about distribution? The goal
Yeah.
being that you would reach the underserved communities in the
Correct.
Philippines.
Well, let's take it one step at a time, Cathy. When we invested in this business, the liquid milk line had a shelf life of 7 days. That was a total nightmare in terms of distribution. Because of our efforts in the R&D side and microbiology, we've been able to increase shelf life to 10 days. So that at least helps, right? But as we work with our Israeli partners by 2026 or early 2027, we are moving into what is called ESL technology. That's extended shelf life. It is still fresh milk. It is not UHT, but we will be able to achieve 28 to 30 days shelf life. Now, that is going to be the game changer when that happens, because we will now be able to distribute even to Visayas and Mindanao.
Have you got a timeline for that?
Early 2027, we think. So from a puzzle piece strategy roadmap, Cathy, so we invested. We said year one, let's fix the marketing and the distribution. And after 2.5 years of hard work, revenues are 3x now. Distribution is 6x already. But what is critical at our dairy life in terms of strategy is next year, we will now be reaching about 10 million liters of raw milk annually. We've just received 222 pregnant heifers from Brisbane, Australia a month ago. These are purebreds, Holsteins, and they're expected to give birth September, October this year, end of September or October. That will automatically double the herd. Hopefully we have more women than men. But they're expected, more importantly, to deliver 30 liters per cow per day. And that's huge. And that will allow us to have enough milk in 2026 to be able to serve demand. Now, when we do 2027 and do the factory that has ESL technology, we are pretty much in line with our strategy that in 2027, we will be able to reach our goal of becoming a dairy master brand, meaning we will be in all dairy categories, be it ice cream, milk, yogurt, cheese, butter, and creams.
Looking at it from the bigger picture, the primary objective of MPAB really is to make for a healthier Philippines. So how then does that hew into your latest investments in 888 Inc.? Where you've got brands like Wendy's, Conti's, all the burgers and cakes in tow.
I think, well, first of all, we've always wanted to enter the protein side of the plate. First of all, I think the investment in Wendy's and Conti's just makes business sense. It's a very sound business, and we think it will help MPAB in the overall objective. Conti's, for example, is actually a natural customer of our dairy products because of their bakery side. They are existing customers of our queso puti, so there are a lot of synergies that we can see in terms of the MPAV business altogether, together with Conti's and Wendy's.
What was the deal structure like? Philstar reported 15% stake.
Yes. So it's just a 15% minority stake, and then that will allow us to have dibs on the business, to learn more from them on their successes, and hopefully be able to apply that also to our own business. And then there are natural synergies that we can do.
Are you looking to increase that over time? Because there are other brands in the holding companies.
Yes.
There's Good Mood Food.
We'll see in the
Coffee.
future. We'll see in the future. There's a lot more things that we want to do, Cathy, as you know. Get into meat, We still have the vegetable business that we just commercially launched early this year.
Yeah, the ceremonial harvest just happened a couple months ago, but I'm
Yes,
wondering
yes.
now about the yield targets. Given that you're now experiencing the brunt of the typhoons, a series of typhoons, the monsoon season, and the floodings
Right.
of late,
Sure.
given the disruption it's causing the whole agriculture sector,
Correct.
do you think you're still going to reach your yield of 500
metric tons
metric
annually.
tons annually
Yeah,
from next year?
we're pretty confident. I think when we started commercial operation early this year, of course, we focus on our NFT or our lettuce side of the business. Bad story and good story. Bad story, we had that Typhoon Emong that really disrupted the whole vegetable ecosystem, especially up in the north when tinamaan yung Pangasinan and La Union, di ba? And also Benguet. And we actually experienced a shortage of lettuce to the point that we saw the prices of vegetables go up. The good thing for us is that, as promised, our structures can withstand typhoons, and our production was still stable. So we found all of the supermarkets and the B2B customers like hotels and restaurants actually going to us because they couldn't find vegetables, which proves a point in terms of our value proposition that if we go greenhouse business, we can actually make supply consistent and hopefully make the price also stable.
So you're hoping to still reach 500
Yes,
metric
definitely,
tons by
definitely.
2026. So that's still
Definitely.
on target given the technology that the greenhouse
Yes,
gives
this
you.
week, Cathy, we're harvesting Japanese muskmelons. We have one greenhouse, and a lot of the supermarkets saw it already. We did sampling already, and they loved the product, and it's very affordable. And you'll see that in the major supermarkets in the coming 2 weeks.
All right. What about the coconut powerhouse comment that
Yes.
you made just a couple of weeks ago with Excellent Resources in your portfolio along with Franklin Baker? But first, did Franklin Baker already get the approval and the clearance from the Philippine Competition Commission?
Yeah, we're still waiting for the approval from PCC. I think we're entering phase 2, as they call it, so there's just some questions, but we're pretty confident that hopefully before year ends, we should be able to finish that transaction.
And it's very important because this is the export that goes to the U.S.
That's correct.
The biggest agricultural export of the Philippines
That's
is
correct.
coconut oil. How much of a hindrance then is 19% of tariffs
Well,
imputed?
quite frankly, we're still evaluating that. I'm sure it will be a major stumbling block for us. But we're still hopeful that there are still moves that are being done by the government and also by discussions with the U.S. That hopefully that tariff can go down or even be exempted for coconut products.
Could there be other markets that you'd consider beyond the U.S.?
Definitely, definitely. In fact, when we started investing in Axelum, we were very strong in the U.S., but it was very clear from the board level that there needs to be a diversification in terms of markets. We're also very strong in Europe, and we're now starting to expand in Australia. And case in point, Asia is a very big market for coconuts, so that's something that we're working on as well.
All right, send over those Japanese muskmelons then.
Oh,
Thank
yes,
you.
definitely, sure. Thank you so much.
Jovi Hernandez of MPAV. Well, it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. here on One News. Have a great day ahead.